What is up, people? This is your boy here, Triple S Storm. And Nintendo has showed their Nintendo Switch multiple times. They've showed The Legend of Zelda. They've showed a few titles that will be coming. And a lot of people are concerned about the Nintendo Switch due to many different reasons. One reason being that a lot of investors have actually backed out of the Nintendo Switch deal. A lot of investors have actually ignored the Nintendo Switch. A lot of stocks have been lost. Nintendo's overall, the contributors that would normally be with Nintendo, so a lot of them are actually stepping out for this console life, and people are saying that this is a bad sign for Nintendo because it just doesn't look good when people start saying that, hey, we don't trust this product that you're producing and we want out. Now, this for me is a good sign, and I'll tell you guys why this is a good sign for me. And sorry, I have a bit of cold, but I'll tell you guys why this is a good sign for me. Now, if you guys have realized, the Nintendo Switch is probably one of, if not the most highly integrated technological advancement that Nintendo has come out with for a very long time. The Super Nintendo was an example. The Nintendo 64 was an example. The Nintendo GameCube was an example. The Nintendo Wii was an example. The Nintendo Wii U wasn't that much of an example. And now the Nintendo Switch is a great example. And the reason why I specified those consoles were that each one of those consoles brought something different to the table. The Super Nintendo brought more colors, more graphical details, contrary to the NES. The Nintendo 64 brought 64 bits to the console. It brought 3D, and they emphasized that a lot, right? It also added more buttons, and kind of cut off a lot of the retro things where you had to press two or three buttons together to actually do a single move and all that stuff. The Nintendo GameCube now was basically, to me, just a more upscale of the Nintendo 64, and they tried to use the mini disc, and they tried to make it portable, which was something that kind of backfired on them. But as I said, it was a good upgrade for them. It was actually a good decision. It just never went over as well. Maybe if they had made it a bit bigger and made it use a normal disc, then it would have kicked off in the right way. But now the Wii actually used the regular size disc. The Wii had motion controls and the Wii remotes and all that. And the Wii was a runaway hit. And then came the Wii U, which a lot of people thought was just an add-on to the Wii, and that was what really killed them because they didn't want to buy an add-on for the Wii. They just wanted a new system. So the Nintendo Switch has rolled around now, and the Nintendo Switch has the best screen Nintendo has produced so far. It has the best controllers design next to the GameCube. The GameCubes are still the best controller design, right? And it has really cool controller designs. The integrated technologies that are in the controllers are awesome. The way the Nintendo Switch is gonna work, switching from tablet mode to TV mode, which is awesome. The chip which is running, which people have not yet confirmed, nobody knows what it's running. We don't know the full specs of the Nintendo Switch yet, but we know for one that it is actually a pretty powerful system. It's just that a lot of people don't have the time. A lot of the developers, a lot of the developers actually don't have the time to go through and actually fine tune their games to get it to run to its maximum potential on the Nintendo Switch. But the first party games look great, and they look real fun. 1-2 Switch might actually be, and I repeat this, 1-2 Switch might actually be the game that sells the Nintendo Switch. Not The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, not Super Mario Odyssey, not Project Arms, none of those games, not Skyrim, not Splatoon, not Super Smash Brothers. 1-2 Switch might actually be that home run that Nintendo needed to get themselves out of the slum. Now, that is just one reason which I thought would actually be a reason why the Nintendo Switch would be successful. Now, another reason why I thought the Nintendo Switch would be successful and that all these investors backed out was actually a good thing is the fact that the amount of hardware and the hardware innovation that is in the Nintendo Switch made it the most expensive Nintendo console to ever hit the market. And this probably scared a lot of investors because they were hoping that Nintendo would go the traditional route of using cheaper technology and older technology to make a simpler game and try to maximize as much as they can from this. And seeing them taking a different route and trying to increase the technology, put in something that's never been put in a console before, and actually running away with that is something that they probably thought of and said, hey, you know what? This is going to be expensive, and a lot of our money is going to be used to make a lot of these systems. So even if they push a lot of units, they're still going to have to spend a lot of money to make a lot of these units. So they probably decided that they're not going to be a part of this because they don't want their money. They don't want like 50% of their money, their profits to be spent creating another console. They only want like 5% to be spent to create another console, and then them keeping the other 95% or whatever. So they decided that they wanted to back out and they wanted out. Now, Nintendo is actually doing something great with the Switch here, and I won't lie, there's a reason why I'm excited for the Switch, and it's not because I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I slightly admit that I love Nintendo. I love every single consoles. I'm not just a fan of Nintendo alone. I'm a fan of most of every single gaming system out there, from PCs to Xbox, PlayStations, everything. It's just that Nintendo seems to be doing something now, which I think that I should put everything else aside for a minute and actually focus on this, because where other people are more concerned about graphics, because even with the Nintendo Switch, everybody's talking about the graphical differences between the Nintendo Switch and the other consoles. It was the same thing with the Wii U, where they were comparing the graphical differences between the games that were on the Wii U compared to the games that were on the other consoles in its generation. And people only shied away from the Wii U, aside from the fact that they thought it was an extension of the Wii, but the fact that it had the least graphical performance of the three consoles and of the four, because PC was in the mix at the time. It had the least graphical performance of the four, and that was one of the things that killed them. Now, what Nintendo is doing with the Switch is they're bringing back that Nintendo feel where it was something different that they did with the system itself that made the system unique. I love what they did with the Wii, where it was motion controls. You could play boxing, tennis, and all that stuff. That was fun. I love what they did with the Nintendo 3DS, where it had two screens, one a top screen and a bottom screen, and they had a mic in there. I remember playing what was that game? The Legend of Zelda. I think it was Phantom's Hourglass. I remember playing that game. I remember when you had to speak in the mic to actually get a person's attention. I remember when you had to close the screen to press the crest from the top screen to the bottom screen, or the other way around. I don't remember. I remember things like that where you had to use software integration that was in the game and hardware integration that was in the system to actually affect the gameplay. You had to speak in the mic. The mic wasn't just there for decoration. You had to close the screen. I found that out by accident. I actually went to the bathroom when I closed the screen, and when I opened it back, I actually passed the test. And I was there drawing the little symbol on the screen, trying to create as perfect as I possibly could, and it didn't work. And that was something that was really cool. I loved the way they did that. That made the game feel that much different. That made you feel an interaction with the game. It made you feel that the system wasn't just another piece of hardware that you bought that you're just going to mash a few buttons. Yes, sometimes it is a lot more comfortable to mash a few buttons, because if I had to do do this thing, like for example in Super Smash Brothers, there's an option that you can actually use the Wii remote and swing it to do smash attacks. And it would be annoying if that was exactly how I had to play the game. Just like with ARMS, where you can use the motion controls, or you can turn the motion controls off and play the game normally. That's smart. I love that. That's how you make a game great. The game is now determined by your ability to move your fingers quicker than your opponent, or your ability to be more athletic and have a greater response time. You have greater reflexes than your opponent. That way, you can use your real life skills if you're better in real life than you are playing a game, versus if you're better playing a game than you are in real life. That is Fierity. A person who is naturally skilled can use his natural skills versus a person who is skilled in game, and that person who's skilled in game can use his in game skills. And that's balance, that's Fierity, that's something that I always thought that they could do. It's like in Sword Art Online, where Kirito is great in real life using swords, and he's great in the game using swords because he's great in real life, and then playing the game for so long made him really great in real life again, and his skills continue growing up and up and up and up, and just keep leveling up his skills. That's something that I love that Nintendo's doing. The Nintendo Switch will succeed because of the way that it is positioned. They're advertising it properly. They're creating good games for it. They're using all of the hardware that's in it. They're trying to maximize its hardware. They're trying to maximize the software. They're making good progress with it. They're actually making dedicated servers for playing competitive games. They're doing things that Nintendo doesn't normally do, right? They're actually pulling a Sega Genesis right now. They're doing things that Nintendo don't. That's what they're doing right now, and this is awesome. This is really awesome. And um, Nintendo actually is kind of listening to the crowd a bit now, and most people are disappointed with the Switch. I wasn't disappointed with the Switch. I'm still not disappointed with the Switch. Aside from the mobile app connectivity thing that they were talking about for online and matchmaking, that's probably the only thing that had me worried. But the Nintendo Switch to me is exactly what I was looking for, and the reason for that is a lot of people were hoping to get something super powerful, super cheap, and in a super small size, and that is something that is hard to do nowadays. And it would cost a lot of money, and they would lose more than they would stand to gain, and that wouldn't be a good business practice. It wouldn't be good for business. It wouldn't be good for us as consumers, because then the company would actually be lagging in sales and in revenue. So the next console generation that comes around would probably get a really shitty console because they don't have enough money to invest in good hardware. So Nintendo Switch was actually a great move. It was a good business strategy. I love the way they did it, and I'm hoping that they keep it up. I hope that they actually spend time producing the quality games and not try to rush it and put games, half broken games out, and then constantly patching it, because that's not what we want to do. We don't want to spend 15 minutes or half an hour of each day downloading updates when we should be playing the games. That's not what we want. And again, for the online servers, that's another reason why I said Nintendo Switch will succeed. They're having dedicated online servers for games like Super Smash Brothers, games like Splatoon. If any of the Call of Duty series should come out, they'll be having dedicated servers for that as well. I really love the idea. That's awesome. Nintendo, thumbs up to you guys. You guys are doing great. Keep up the good work, and just keep up the good work. We really don't want to see you guys die. We want to see you guys in the next console generation. We want to see what you have in store. And it's a really good experience as a gamer to have lived through all of these console generations and see the evolution from 8-bit to 1080p to 4K, and it's just amazing. Nintendo's doing this thing where they're not actually, in this race for resolution and this race for graphics. They're just in this own little world where eventually we will be able to play Sword Art Online the way Sword Art Online is played in the anime, where we can put on our VR, look at our hands, and actually just go away to a different world. That's something that I hope to see in the future. It's something that I'd hope that I'll be around for. I hope I'll be alive and healthy, is still kicking, and being able to do it the way I'd love to do it. So, guys, if you guys actually think that the Nintendo Switch will succeed, they'll actually push their 100 million units by the end of their life cycle. Please let me know, guys. If you guys think that the Nintendo Switch is sold out due to scalpers, or it's sold out because people genuinely want this system, leave that down in the comments. Also, please hit the like button, share this video, stay subscribed to the channel, turn on the post notifications so you guys can be notified every single time I hit a video. This is Triple S Star. I'm telling you guys, stay with the channel. Follow us. Check out the Nintendo Switch. Can't wait till it releases. It's not that far. I'll see you guys in another video.